Hello from the Richland Hills Public Library. I'm Miranda, the youth librarian, and as you can see, we're doing something a little different today. Making a video isn't always easy in a house full of people, and my camera person has been unavailable. So, in an effort to get at least one video to y'all this week, I decided to try something new. This will be a photo video. Not quite as exciting, I know, but hopefully equally interesting and informative. Today, I'll be showing you how to make tessellations. A tessellation is a pattern of shapes that fit together without any gaps. Shapes that tessellate include squares, rectangles, triangles that have the same edge on every side, also known as equilateral, and hexagons. Those are shapes with 6 equal sides. Circles and ellipses won't tessellate because when you try to fit them together, they leave gaps. But as you can see from the picture, tessellations can be both simple and elaborate. You may already be familiar with some of the tessellations created by the famous artist, Escher. We won't be doing anything this complicated today, but I wanted you to be able to see all of the amazing things you can do with tessellations. Escher also did much more simplified designs like the ones you're seeing now, and that's what I'll be showing you how to make today. For this project, you'll need the following supplies: a pencil with a good eraser or a separate eraser, a note card, either 4x6 or 3x5, I'm using a 4x6 card today, a pair of scissors, tape. Any kind should work, but as you can see from the picture, I'm using Scotch tape. A piece of paper. I'm using 12x12, but you can use 8.5x11 or really any size large enough to show off your design. A black Sharpie or some other black marker. I prefer thick-tipped, but you can definitely use thin as well. It's entirely up to you. Something to color with: crayons, colored pencils, paint, markers. Honestly, for the coloring, the sky is the limit. Use whatever you have the most fun with. All right, that's it. Let's get started. First, we're going to turn our note card into a square. You've seen me do this in previous videos, but here it is again. Just fold one corner over to the other edge, making sure the edges line up just right. Once you've done that, then you can cut off the extra paper that's at the bottom. Now we have a good square. Next, we're going to make a design along one edge. It's easier for the next step if this design goes from corner to corner, and you'll see why in a minute. Once you've got a design that you like, use your scissors to cut it out. Once it's cut out, we're going to bring the cut out piece over to the opposite side. Here's where you have to pay close attention. Make sure your cutout doesn't get flipped. Notice in the photo how it looks like I just cut it out, picked it up, and placed it right back down on the other side. This is really important so that our tessellation will work properly. It's also important to make sure your edges line up evenly, which is why we made our design go from corner to corner. We don't have to do any guessing. We just line up our corners and we're good to go. Once you're sure you've got your cutout in the right position, line it up as even as you can and then tape it down. You've just made yourself a tessellation template. If you want something really detailed, you can do the same thing to the square's remaining straight sides too. I decided to go ahead and do that for my tessellation. You'll notice that I didn't have this design end on both corners. That was a little too hard to do given the other design. But I did use one corner, so it was still easy for me to line the cutout up and then tape it down. Now you can place your template down on the paper and start tracing around the outline. It doesn't matter where you place your template to start, and your lines don't have to be perfect, but try to get them to match as much as possible before tracing the next bit. Once one outline is done, you can move the template to one of the outline's edges. Line it up just right and then trace some more. Don't worry, you don't have to trace over the lines you've already done, so it doesn't take as long as you might think. Move moving your template around from spot to spot, you'll have a completed pattern in no time. Try not to skip over the smaller areas along the edges. This will make your tessellation more accurate. You should be able to see a few in my design. Originally, I missed them and had to go back and add them in. Fortunately, the template made things pretty easy to fix. Before I start on the Tessellations design, I like to outline my pencil lines with a dark marker, usually a black Sharpie. But you can use whatever you have on hand, or you can choose not to outline at all. It's totally up to you. Now comes the fun part, coming up with an image for your tessellation. It can be a pattern, or you can look at your shape and see if it reminds you of anything. Each piece of your tessellation can be different, or they can all be the same. It's entirely up to you. As you can see in the photo here, MC Escher often liked to use different images, like birds and fish, in the same design. If you're not sure what design you want to use, instead of drawing on your tessellation paper, why not take another piece of paper and trace your stencil several times onto that? That way you can play with different designs in order to decide which one you like best. Sometimes it helps to look at your template from all different angles, like I did here. In one direction, I saw a soaring bird. In another direction, I saw a tropical flower. And in another direction, I saw a grinning dragon. While I liked all of my ideas, my favorite was definitely the soaring bird. So that's the image that I used. Although, as you can see, I did decide that I preferred the bird white instead of yellow for my final design. And there you have it. Everything you need to create your very own tessellation. Please don't forget to share your creations with us when you're done. You can tag the library on Facebook or Instagram, or you can post your design in the comments. I can't wait to see what you'll create.